I would like to invite our next speaker, Mr. Margus Vihman from Port of Tallinn, to give us a presentation on the implementation of LNG and onshore power supply infrastructure in a port. Port of Tallinn has been leader for a while in the region, and we've been cooperating in few projects introducing LNG infrastructure. Now we have a couple of ships running there on LNG on daily basis. There's a LNG bunkering ongoing there. You wasn't one of the examples there in the region, and I'm sure you're serving as a know-how from most of the ports in Europe. So I'm really curious to see what is the latest from Port of Tallinn. So Mr. Vihman, if you can give us your presentation.
Very much for the introduction. Please tell me if you can see my presentation.
Yeah, we can see it. Please go ahead.
All right. So I'm Margus Vihman, Chief Commercial Officer, member of the Management Board of Port of Tallinn. And I'm telling you a little bit about the things that we do with the green ambitions. Okay, so just to understand who we are actually a listed company, which is quite rare in the area. Usually the companies, port companies, are owned by the local government or government. We are a publicly listed company in Baltic Nasdaq, which is part of the American Nasdaq, but 67% of our shares is owned by Republic of Estonia and 33% are on a free flow, so these can be bought from the stock exchange and hopefully made some profit on that. Don't let the name fool you. We are actually not only working in Tallinn, capital of Estonia, but we are the biggest port authority in Estonia. We operate currently 4 ports. We have 4 business areas. Actually, we are the 3rd biggest passenger port in Europe after Helsinki and Hull, and then we are competing with Stockholm for the 3rd place. Then we do the cargo, and we service over 10 million passengers annually. So on a good year, of course, with the COVID crisis, the number has decreased a lot. Now, in cargo, we make annually about 21.5 million tons. We are also ship owners. We have icebreaker, and then we have actually 5 ferries that we use inside of Estonia, and we service mainland and 2 biggest islands in Estonia. And then 4th biggest business field is real estate, which we have the industrial parks, of course, in the port area, but we also have 16 hectares of prime land in the old city port, right near to the city center. If we talk about the passengers, the main passengers, of course, go between Tallinn and Helsinki, and we service in a normal year about 8 million persons there. Then we have lines to Stockholm and cruise lines to St. Petersburg. And we also service about 650,000 cruise passengers annually. Now, one thing that we are proud of and what we have been working for many years now is sustainable development. And this is a frame that our strategy is built in. As you know, in 2015, the United Nations Summit Declaration Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development was approved, and to achieve these goals, also we are doing our part, and we have chosen. You can see these emoticons in the middle from this UN summit. Some of the points that we can react to and have our impact. And today I'm talking more about the environmental impact. As you know, the climate neutrality is the goal for 2050, and we want to decrease the CO2 by 50% already by 2030. So how do you do this? The first thing, you probably have to know where are you, because if you don't know where you are, you don't know what goal to put for yourself. So what we did is mapping the CO2, and we had 3 scopes there. So port direct, which means the fleet that the port owned, vehicles, buildings, stationary sources, how much is the CO2 emission there. Then scope 2, indirect, which means the purchased electricity for port-owned buildings and operations. And the most difficult one, scope 3, which means the port tenants and other resources. This means ships, trucks, cargo handling. So basically, we don't only cover our own emissions, but everybody who is interacted with the port, even a Ro-Ro passenger car that is going into the Ro-Ro vessel is calculated into this. And what we found is that totally we emit 97,426 tons CO2 annually. We also understood where it's coming from, and as you can see, the biggest emission is still from the vessels, 53%, and the second biggest is 23% from the electricity. All the others are smaller, and with electricity it's very easy to solve. We actually have done it already. We are using now only green energy in our ports, so this is already reduced. With the vessels, it's totally different story, and it's more than a half. The first step that we are taking now, and it's already in the action, is onshore power supply. And as you know, the difficulty in this is that there is very many different standards, but we have managed to agree with 4 ports to set a common approach for the new offshore power supply. And the standard is 11 kilovolts, and the frequency is 50 hertz. And this is mainly for the RoPax vessels going between Helsinki and Tallinn. And we also agreed with Helsinki, Turku, Stockholm, and Tallinn, of course, that we will jointly encourage other ports and shipping companies to follow this initiative and use the same frequency and voltage. And of course, we have talked this through with our biggest clients. All of these ports have the biggest clients of these ports are the same. So Tallink Silja Line, Eckerö Line, and Viking Line. Also, a good thing is that we managed to get the EU funding for this, and we have a project called Twin Port, and I think we currently already go with the 5th round to get the EU funding, but this was financed with a 3rd round. And the EU funding rate for this onshore power supply was 30%. We invested 3.5 million. And for example, Tallink today has 5 ships that are able to connect to the onshore power, and they have invested 3 million euros. But in the future, we would like to have 12 ships, and Tallink will invest up to 6 million euros into that. And where we currently have is we have 5 keys supplied with the OPS systems. 3, 5, and 7 is for the Tallink, 12 is for the Viking Line. 12 is for the Eckerö Line, and 13 is then for the Viking Line. And basically what you need for the OPS connection, very important, is main incoming substation, because if you don't have the amount of power available, then you have to somehow build this. Then power cables, shoreside substation, then the berth terminal, and of course the ship has proper equipment to receive this power. And our partner in this was ABB, also ShoreLink, main partners, and they managed to build 6 cable dispenser units, 5 shore substations, and like I said, 11 kilovolts and 50 hertz connections. And here we go again with the 5 keys. And the project duration was 1 year. And we also calculated the environmental benefits. So 1,440 tons of CO2, 20 tons of nitrogen oxide and 820 kilos of SOx. So basically this is all minus. So this is what we have benefited from that. Now coming to the alternative fuels, still the most popular alternative fuel at the moment is LNG. And we have had this fuel in our port since 2017. And the company LNG, which is part of the Estonian gas company, has been providing this for us. And they have also done all the preparations and permits. They have done also the hazard identification and hazard and operability study. So all the risk analysis has been done. They supply, they do the logistics, they also do the customs because the LNG is mainly coming from Russia. And they also do the operations and technical management. We currently have one ship that is using it constantly in Old Town Port, and this is Tallinn ship Megastar. And they are bunkering from the trucks to the ship. One truck is about 250 cubic meters. 25,600 cubic meters, and they are doing 4 to 6 trucks every night. So quite time consuming. What they want to do in the future, and most probably will be launched this year, is LNG bunkering ship, and this has capacity of 6,000 cubic meters. Also, we already have all the risk analysis done, and potential user, of course, will be Megastar. They will have a similar sister ship next year, which will be called MyStar. And also, they are planning to supply cruise ships and cargo ships in the Baltic Sea. Now, just to understand the 6,000 cubic meters, how much it is that Megastar has 2 300 cubic meter tanks. So 6,000 is quite a lot. I would call it already medium size bunkering vessel or a big size bunkering vessel, but maybe comparable to a terminal already. And the main operation area will be Gulf of Finland. Vessel can act as feeder or bunker vessel in the eastern part of Baltic Sea. This is meaning that they will still have trucks. So sometimes what will happen is that they bunker from the ship to the trucks, and the trucks actually do the bunkering to the ship, or why not some vessels or factories that are on the shore. They are can provide bunkering to different type and size of vessels. Mainly there will be tankers, cargo ships, cruise ships, passenger vessels. Vessel is capable to do the bunkering in anchorage point, so not inside the port, but also inside the port. And we also know that the vessel is highly maneuverable. So can operate in very different type of ports. Now, another project that we have is one of the ferries that we have going between the islands and the mainland. And we have created it as a hybrid ferry, which basically acts as the hybrid car. So uses has battery packs which he can use in the time that there is high voltage or high power needed, and this means that we can use about 20% less diesel fuel, and of course we then lower the emissions also, and we have calculated that annually 1,600 tons of CO2 can be reduced. Also, the Voyager is much quieter, we don't have the underwater noise and vibration and pollution. So better, cleaner living for everyone. And the previous speaker had a very good presentation about the hydrogen. We are also thinking about that. And one of the main reasons still is that LNG definitely is a temporary solution. As you get minus 99% of the sulfur oxides and 80% of the nitrogen oxides, this is very good fuel. But if you look at the CO2, then the reduce is only 25%. And we need in the future some kind of a new energy, and hydrogen is what we are betting on. So also we have to think that 40 to 50% of our turnover in the port system is oil and gas, and this definitely will be reduced. So if we want to keep up the cargo amounts in our ports, we have to also look into the new energies. The prices of solar and wind energy are decreasing, and Baltic Sea will definitely be one of the good places to have offshore wind parks. This is also something that is for the favor of the hydrogen, because you can save the energy into the hydrogen and then release it where you need it. And then we really see a good opportunity here, and would like to set up a hydrogen value chain in Estonia. And we see us as a kickstarting of the value chain here to do also the infrastructural hydrogen backbone, which means probably in the beginning smaller terminals, or even bunkering stations, and then building them bigger and bigger. We would like to become at least the Baltic hydrogen hub, meaning the 3 Baltic states. We would like to operate hydrogen vessels, and also thinking about the internal logistics in the port to be re-engineered into the hydrogen. And of course, the collaboration with the port, within the port area. So everybody who is using our land or has the terminals in there, we would like to also get them to use the hydrogen. But not only, I also think that in the longer run, we could be the ones that supply the hydrogen tanking points, or even work together with the public transport or something like that. One of the first projects that we are thinking about is that we have the OPS for the line carriers at the moment, but we don't still have them for the cruise ships. And the problem with the cruise ships is that they're very, very big, more than 300 meters long, and the consumption that they can have is compared to a small city in Estonia. So for us, it could be difficult to get the needed amount of power into the old city port for these cruise ships. And one of the things that we have been thinking of is combining the grid power with the hydrogen, which means that we could actually record 16 hours in a day in the electricity into the hydrogen, and then for the 8 hours that the cruise ships are in, supply the cruise ships partly with the electricity power that we get from the hydrogen. Also, we are planning to probably have the 6th ferry in Estonia between the islands, and this will be operated purely on batteries charged from the electric grid. But we are also thinking that it should have the readiness for the hydrogen, and also the possible retrofitting of the existing ferries. The LNG is the mark of the ferry, which is then the type model of the LNG Marine, the Norwegian company that has been designing these companies and these ferries. We totally estimate the reduction of CO2 with this by 55%. And also we are thinking about in Paldiski or Muuga harbor of having the medium or small size, but in the future, why not the big size terminals for the hydrogen. So if anybody is interested in that, then please contact with us. And we also have the cooperation with the Hamburg Port Authority and Roenne Port Authority to have this connection line that would have the possibilities of having bunkering facilities in these ports. And finally, what we see is first step is internal logistics, trucks, heavy lifting equipment built on hydrogen by 2023. Then secondly, public transport and ferries, providing hydrogen for freight and public transport, buses and trains by 2023-2024, providing hydrogen for domestic ferry industry, also providing hydrogen for internal ferry industry. And the third stage, somewhere around 2030, will be then providing hydrogen for shipping and export. So that's it. If you have any questions, then I would be glad to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Vihman, for the excellent picturesque presentation of Port of Tallinn, and we are glad to see you continuing on the same path with introducing LNG, bio-LNG as well to come, and OPS, and as well aiming for the future fuels and concentrating on the hydrogen and other solutions. Thank you for your support and joining us today. If there are any questions, they will be forwarded to you on the.
Thank you very much.
YouTube.
Thank you for having us. Bye-bye.
Thank you.